On July 20, 1969, over 650 million people worldwide watched as Neil Armstrong became the first human to step onto the lunar surface. The Apollo 11 mission's live broadcast showed grainy black and white footage of Armstrong's iconic words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Despite technical limitations, the event symbolized America's Cold War victory over the USSR in the space race. NASA's success was celebrated globally, but some viewers noted peculiar details that would later fuel skepticism. Within months of the landing, conspiracy theorists began dissecting NASA's footage. They pointed to anomalies like the American flag appearing to flutter in a vacuum, inconsistent shadows suggesting multiple light sources, and the lack of visible stars in lunar photos. Physicists later explained these phenomena. The flag's movement resulted from inertia, and the lunar surface's brightness obscured stars. But skeptics argued these were signs of a staged production. Underground pamphlets circulated claims that the entire event was filmed in a studio. NASA held a press conference in 1970 to address growing skepticism. Scientists demonstrated how lunar conditions differed from Earth, explaining shadow angles with a single light source, the sun, and the flag's movement from vibrational energy. They revealed moon rocks containing isotopes only formed in space, but conspiracy theorists dismissed this as fabricated evidence. Journalists noted the agency's defensive tone, which inadvertently fueled further speculation about a cover-up during the tense Cold War era. Rumors spread that the USSR had proof the landing was faked but remained silent to avoid humiliating America. Declassified documents later showed Soviet scientists verified Apollo 11's radio signals originated from the moon. However, in 1971, tabloids claimed cosmonauts saw no U.S. spacecraft on lunar flybys. This theory gained traction amid Cold War tensions, with some alleging NASA staged the landing to bankrupt the Soviets in a futile space competition. Historians note no Soviet scientist ever endorsed these claims. Conspiracy theorists drew parallels between Stanley Kubrick's 1968 film 2001: A Space Odyssey and Apollo footage, claiming NASA hired him to fake the landing. They noted similarities in camera techniques and special effects. Kubrick's family denied this, and experts highlighted key differences. Apollo's live broadcasts showed real-time communication delays, impossible to simulate then. Ironically, Kubrick's hyper-realistic cinematography, meant to showcase human achievement, became a cornerstone of hoax theories. In 1973, NASA admitted that original high-quality Apollo 11 takes had been erased and reused due to budget cuts, a common practice with magnetic tapes in the 1970s. Only lower-quality broadcast copies survived. Conspiracy groups seized this, alleging deliberate destruction of evidence. NASA later restored enhanced versions using surviving footage, but the incident damaged public trust. Archivists note that 20% of Apollo data was lost, though moon rocks and independent tracking confirm the mission's authenticity. An anonymous source claiming to be a NASA technician told tabloids in 1974 that stage lights caused overheating during the fake moonwalk. Investigators found no evidence supporting this. Apollo spacesuits had cooling systems, and lunar temperatures were publicly documented. The informant vanished after media scrutiny. Experts attribute such claims to Cold War paranoia, noting similar hoax stories emerged about Soviet space feats. Nonetheless, the myth persisted in pop culture, inspiring books and documentaries. Under public pressure, Congress held a 1975 hearing to examine moon landing evidence. Lawmakers reviewed 10,000-plus NASA documents and interviewed astronauts, finding no fraud indicators. Critics argued the inquiry was superficial, but independent scientists confirmed lunar laser reflectors left by Apollo crews were functional, something impossible to fake. Despite this, a 1976 Gallup poll showed 6% of Americans believed the landing was staged, rising to 20% among young adults influenced by counterculture movements. In 1976, MIT and Caltech physicists published detailed analyses debunking hoax claims. They explained lunar photography anomalies through light scattering in vacuum and camera settings needed for bright surface conditions. Satellite images later showed Apollo landing sites with undisturbed rover tracks. Conspiracy theorists dismissed this as fabricated, but astronomers noted that over 400,000 NASA personnel would have had to remain silent, a statistical impossibility. The papers became foundational in STEM education about critical thinking. By 1977, despite overwhelming scientific evidence, polls revealed 30% of Americans entertained doubts about the moon landing. Psychologists attributed this to distrust after Watergate and Vietnam War lies. Documentaries like Capricorn 1, 1977, about a faked Mars mission, blurred lines between fiction and reality. Historians note the conspiracy's endurance stems from its symbolism, questioning authority during societal upheaval. Today, 5 to 10% still doubt, though every Apollo astronaut publicly confirmed the mission's authenticity before their deaths.